up, guys? My name's Eric Hopkins, and welcome to the Joecast. This is my weekly movie news show where I go over all the news in the world of movies over the last week or so. So, without further ado, let's get into the news stories of the week. Every week, I like to start with the weekend box office report for the previous week, and this week, surprise, surprise, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story was number one at the box office, bringing in a whopping $155 million over the weekend to take the number one spot hands down. Number two, we had Disney's Moana with another $12.7 million over the weekend for an impressive total in the United States for $162 million over its run. Number three, we had Office Christmas Party coming in at $8.5 million. And number four, we had Will Smith's Collateral Beauty, which pretty well tanked at the box office. It only brought in $7 million on its opening weekend. It faced pretty stiff competition there with Rogue One, obviously. And rounding out the top five was Warner Brothers' Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, bringing in $5 million over the weekend for a grand total in the United States of $207 million over its run. The thing that stands out to me most about this week's box office report is obviously Rogue One. It was going to make bank. I mean, let's just be honest with it. I mean, a Star Wars movie, no matter what it's going to be, is going to kill at the box office. And in December, around Christmas time, it's a good place to put it because there's not a whole lot of other competition out there, really. So it does. Other movies don't have to fear it at this point because I mean, some of these other movies on this list, other than Collateral Beauty, have been out for weeks already. So, but that is kind of shocking to me. Collateral Beauty, with Will Smith attached to it. I've heard it's actually a decent film. It's one of his better performances as an actor, I heard. But not many people are going to flock to it. I don't know if it's got Oscar bait type material in it or not. It just doesn't strike me as something I'd be interested in. But yeah, but for the week, obviously Rogue One was going to dominate, and if anybody expected any less, they're kidding themselves. Well, there's no rest for the wicked as Suicide Squad director David Ayer and Harley Quinn actress Margot Robbie will be moving forward together on their next project for DC, and it will be titled Gotham City Sirens, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Gotham City Sirens borrows its name from a recent DC comic series that starred Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman as a three-woman team that faced off against various members of the Gotham criminal underground. The story for this film is rumored to focus squarely on the three leading criminal women, which means that Poison Ivy and Catwoman will almost certainly be appearing in the new DCEU sometime very soon. However, the report also sheds light on the previously rumored Birds of Prey spinoff, which originally indicated Harley Quinn would be interacting with Gotham's women heroes like Huntress and Batgirl. Instead, however, Gotham City Sirens will instead be closer to David Ayer and Margot Robbie's previous DC film, To Suicide Squad, which will undoubtedly mean that it will star bad people doing bad things, but for the good of everyone else. In addition to the recent announcement of the Gotham City Sirens movie, Warner Brothers has also committed to producing a Suicide Squad sequel, as well as a standalone movie centering on Will Smith's Deadshot. Although specific details for each film remain relatively vague, we know that Warner Brothers currently has Gotham City Sirens on a fast track, with Suicide Squad 2 following in development. Deadshot's movie is the furthest from release, but the fact that it has actually been announced is a huge step for the character. To go along with the news of these two or three films being announced, Warner Brothers is also shaking up its executive team, ousting creative development and production chief Greg Silverman and promoting Toby Emmerich to president and chief content officer. Warner Brothers leadership was very unhappy with the poor critical reception for Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, two of the DC Comics adaptations intended to kick off an ambitious series of interconnected superhero films. This move is obviously in connection to that leadership and their discontent with the franchise thus far, and I believe it could be a harbinger of things to come, and hopefully it will correct things in the DCU going forward. When it comes to the Margot Robbie Gotham City Sirens movie, I don't know exactly how I feel about that movie or the Will Smith Deadshot movie being announced. They have a hard time getting their core stories of the Flash and Green Lantern and Cyborg and Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, all these characters going so far. So I don't know about taking risks with these side characters just yet. I just did a rant on the podcast last week about how much the DCEU needs to really get their act together. These moves to put a Harley Quinn film or a Deadshot film in development right away after Suicide Squad came out, it just screams reactionary. It screams that the company does not have a clear direction, and they're just kind of throwing anything at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's very concerning because they need to get their plans in order here and hopefully move forward. Now they've shaken up things at the top before by putting Jeff Johns in charge of a lot of the DCEU content coming down the pipe here, and now they've got this Greg Silverman who is going to be running Warner Brothers at the top as president as well, and hopefully some of these changes will be good things, but with all these shuffling of the deck, so to speak, it's kind of hard to see if they're going to have any clear vision going forward, or they're just going to, continue to make changes for the sake of making changes because this is just kind of what they do. While I personally would like to see a Will Smith Deadshot movie, I think his dynamic with Batman could actually be explored more, as a matter of fact, and Deadshot's daughter as well. I would also still love to see a Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Catwoman team up film or whatever. I mean, I'd be one of the guys who buys the first tickets for the movie and be there on opening night, but I just don't know if it's going to appeal to wide audiences. So it'll be interesting to see what Rosie actually takes. We do know we have plenty of DC dates already announced. We don't have many film titles announced for those dates. We got Wonder Woman, Justice League, and Aquaman guaranteed to be coming up the next 2 years, and then the Batman Ben Affleck film will be more than likely in that time frame as well before too long. But other than that, everything else is up in the air, as I said last week. So without harping on DCEU all the time here on the podcast, I just wanted to bring out these two stories here to let you all know what's going on. But it's just, again, it's more of kind of what I said last week, of just more reactionary, you know, impulse to just kind of follow what the audience is talking about here, and without nailing down a clear-cut story that will actually benefit their cinematic universe going forward. Well, this week saw Trailer Palooza continuing, as we had numerous trailers released this week, and a couple of them, the first two I'm going to mention here, I did do a trailer reaction video to both of them, and the first one being Dunkirk, the new Christopher Nolan film. I thought this film looked very well done. It looked like it's going to be a very interesting World War II film. Again, I don't necessarily know a whole lot about the Dunkirk evacuation event that actually took place. I'm very much looking forward to this film and learning more. I'd like to, find out more about what actually happened there. So I'm very intrigued by this film, and like I said, you can check out my trailer reaction on the channel right here as well. The next trailer was Despicable Me 3. I actually like this trailer. It didn't show me as much of the Minions as I prefer to see. But sometimes maybe, too much Minions is not a good thing. But I like the new dynamic with the new Balthazar Brat that was voiced by Trey Parker. I like that villain for Steve Carell's Gru. So I'm looking forward to see how they do that, and I like the music they threw in there with Michael Jackson and things like that. So it's got some potential, and I'm looking forward to it. There were three new trailers that came out within the last day or so. I was having a minor computer issue here, so I was unable to put up any podcasts. But really, I watched these three trailers, and there really wasn't a whole lot to them. So I doubt I'll be doing a trailer reaction to them. But I did want to mention them here on the movie show. That way, you all know that I saw them and what I thought about them. The first trailer was the new John Wick 2, Chapter 2 trailer that dropped. There really wasn't a whole lot in it that wasn't kind of already shown in previous trailers. But it had a lot of great action, a lot of good one-liners, and now we find out that they're going to be blowing up John Wick's home. So John Wick's going to go after all these guys, and like he said in the trailer, he's going to kill them all. So I'm very much looking forward to this. The very first one was a great action film, and it was a lot of fun. And Keanu Reeves resurrected his career with this role, and I can't wait to see what he does with the sequel. We also got the very first teaser trailer for Blade Runner 2049, starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. Again, there wasn't a whole lot to this teaser. It wasn't much to it. It just had Harrison Ford talking about how he had done the Blade Runner job 30 years ago, and so it just kind of gives you a little a tease to what's to come next year in October. So I mean, I personally have never seen the first Blade Runner film. I hear it's really good, and I hear a lot of people love it. So I'm going to probably check it out between now and the time the sequel comes out, and I'll probably do a trailer reaction video on it once we get a more full trailer. This trailer just didn't show enough to really warrant a whole video for, I thought. The third trailer that came out this week was the new little teaser trailer for the Emoji movie that comes out on August 4th, 2017. They're making video or movies for emojis now. I guess if you can do movies for Angry Birds and things like that, I guess emojis was the next one down the line here. But really, to be honest, again with this teaser, there was just a little emoji talking about how they're doing a movie and things like that, and It was just it was actually the meh emoji, so to speak. So he was kind of, ho hum type, reacting, and it actually kind of won me over a little bit. I thought it looked interesting, and I kind of want to see a full trailer before I make a, hard judgment on it. But you also see, like, the ice cream emoji talking about how you can't work in these conditions under these warm lights. And then and then you see the little poo emoji off to the side, like, no, 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 go, it just reacting to him and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. So it could be interesting to see the type of emojis they play with in this film. So it could actually have some potential. Well, this week, casually tucked into an official press release to announce hiring of three new production executives at Legendary Pictures, you might find a couple pieces of interesting information. The first would be the new Pacific Rim uh, title for the Pacific Rim sequel is now going to be known as Pacific Rim Uprising, while the new Godzilla sequel is officially going to be titled Godzilla King of Monsters. I mean, I've kind of known these two movies were coming down the pipe pretty soon, but anyway, um, and we just didn't have an official title for Godzilla 2 because Godzilla, they're doing this whole new universe with Godzilla and the Kong Skull Island that comes out next year, and then we're going to get Godzilla King of Monsters now that will eventually lead up into the massive fight between Godzilla and Kong themselves. So we knew that movie was coming. We just didn't have an official title for it. But Pacific Rim was officially the sequel was officially titled Pacific Rim Maelstrom, and it's now been upgraded, so to speak, to Pacific Rim Uprising. I personally like the first title better of Maelstrom. Just kind of add a little more gravitas to it, and just kind of gave it a little more sense of, like, an incoming storm or whatnot. But Uprising just kind of seems like a video game title or whatnot. But I'm looking forward to that. John Boyega from The Force Awakens will be starring in that film. So I personally enjoyed the first films of both. So I hope the sequels will be even bigger and more, on a grand scale than the originals were. Now, this next story here, it's just a little quick little tidbit. It could be considered a little bit of a spoiler. So, if those of you who do not want any spoilers for the new Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, you might want to skip ahead a couple minutes here while I talk about this little story here. So, I'm going to put up the spoiler alert. That way, you know when to, you can skip ahead and know when I'm not going to be talking about spoilers for Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. Um, but here we go. It has been reported by numerous sources that Keira Knightley has been filming some scenes for the new Pirates of the Caribbean film. She was not in the fourth installment of the series, and neither was Orlando Bloom as Will Turner. But it's been reported that she has shot a few scenes for the new movie on the Gold Coast. So I don't expect her to have a large role in Pirates of the Caribbean 5 here coming up in May. But I believe that they very well could be filming a cameo, perhaps at the end of the film or whatever, to maybe set up a future role in the sixth installment, to where maybe she would have a larger role, and, like, kind of like Barbossa did at the end of the second film, where they killed him off at the end of one, and then he came back at the end of two, and then we saw him more in the sequels. So I could see them doing something like that with her. But time will tell with that, and I would personally like to see it because the fact that, I mean, the teaser trailer for Dead Men Tell No Tales showed a young boy, which many believe is the son of Will and Elizabeth, and so that would only make sense if Will Turner is coming back in this film, as we all know he is. He's listed as a cast member. It only makes sense to bring back Keira Knightley as Elizabeth too. In a report from Variety, writer and director Alex Timbers is in negotiations to direct Cruella, the origin tale of the classic Disney villain starring Emma Stone. Obviously, they've done a live action version of Cruella with Glenn Close back in the day, or I think it was called 101 Dalmatians. I'm not positive, but yeah, they done a movie with like that with her. So obviously now Disney is their whole plan right now is to bring out all these old Disney classics in live action form to kind of capitalize on the popularity of those from like the Jungle Book and Cinderella that they had released recently. So I mean, Cruella is the next step to that. It's kind of taking the Maleficent route a little bit of focusing on the villain more. So it'll be interesting to see how Emma Stone, what she can bring to the character. But yeah, it's good to see they got a director, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it as well. As well as the other live action films they've got planned, from Aladdin to Little Mermaid to The Lion King, apparently, which will be mostly CGI, I'm assuming. But yeah, I kind of like what they're doing. I love Jungle Book. I haven't seen a couple of the other ones, so they're on the right track to success, and I can't wait to see more of them. Speaking of Disney having success, on Monday, Disney became the first studio ever to hit $7 billion in ticket sales at the global box office. The figure was just enough to beat out the previous record holders that was held by Universal, who hit $6.9 billion last year. Disney obviously was going to hit this mark at some point and become the top grossing studio of all time. I mean, this year they had a lot of hits, obviously with Captain America: Civil War and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. But some of the other movies that they released were more like smaller titles that nobody expected to do well, like Zootopia, Moana. I mean, a lot of people thought Finding Dory would do well, but some of those other films like that, or Jungle Book was another one that was kind of a sleeper hit that most people didn't think would do that well. So all that combined, I mean, it's no surprise that the House of Mouse is once again just dominating the world, and I believe pretty soon they're probably going to own the world too. A new Triple X The Return of Xander Cage poster was released this week as well. I kind of like the look of this. It's very got a lot of cool colors in it, and it's got a lot of all the characters. It kind of strikes me as a little bit of a Star Wars poster, a little bit how like all the designs and like the flowing of the poster kind of brings together all the characters and a little bit of the action sequences and things like that. So I thought it was really a really I love posters in a way because they're kind of like works of art to me, and this is just kind of one of those I thought was really cool. Now obviously we don't know if the movie's going to be very good. Triple X to me is a guilty pleasure, so to speak. I even like the one with Ice Cube in it. So well, it'll be fun to see what Vin Diesel brings to this role. It seems like he's kind of plays some of the same characters anymore between Fast and Furious and Riddick and the Triple X film. So he's always got that same shtick, so to speak, of the tough guy, blah blah. And but as a poster, I think this is a pretty cool poster, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. Speaking of cool images, the Warner Brothers has also released a new photo from the new Justice League movie. Again, this is just kind of something I wanted to share with you all. It was just a little picture of the Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman looking up to the sky. Which could that mean they're looking at the return of Superman? I don't know. But from a Zack Snyder film, his films are often criticized for being awfully dark and grim in tone and things like that. But this photo here kind of shows a little bit more color, a little more vibrant. Feel to it. So I'm kind of anxious to see, another trailer for it. And rumors have been going around that there may be a Justice League trailer coming down the pipe here pretty soon. It could even come out as early as Christmas. And if that happens, I hope to do a trailer reaction for it. I will be out of town for Christmas, so I will get to it as soon as I can. It may be a week or so late, but I'm really hoping to see some more footage here coming up soon. Speaking of cool little posters that came out this week, there's a lot of new character posters for the new Lego Batman movie. I love the colors in this as well. I mean, just the cartoons are obviously going to bring out the colors in them, but I mean, the little taglines and stuff are kind of clever, and I just kind of, I mean, I'm looking forward to this because as a DC fan, I'm a big fan of comics in general, and I thought the Lego movie was really well done. It was a kind of a surprise hit as well. This being the sequel to that, I thought that it was a cool idea to bring out the Batman character who was kind of a hit in the original film, to bring him to the forefront and bring all these good, funny actors to voice him as well. And this could be fun. I kind of hope that it doesn't become annoying because I kind of, looking at the trailers, I kind of hope that after a 90-minute movie, I won't be ready to pull my hair out. Uh, I mean, I do enjoy them and I have some fun with them, but sometimes, cartoons like this can, like the Lego movie, if you watch it over and over and over again, it gets kind of annoying. But for the first few viewings, it can be very hysterical, and I'm hoping the same thing for the Lego Batman movie. All right, so it's time for what's opening this week in theaters. And again, if you've not seen Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, I highly recommend you go check that out. It's probably the best movie in my opinion in theaters right now. So I would definitely go give that a watch. And if you've not seen my review of Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, it's also here on the channel. A non-spoiler and a spoiler review of that movie is right here. So I give you a spoiler warning before I go into all the details of it. So feel free to check that out. And coming out this week, the week right before Christmas here, is first of all we have Passengers starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence on a routine journey through space to a new home. Two passengers sleeping in suspended animation are awakened 90 years too early when their ship malfunctions. As Jim and Aurora face living the rest of their lives on board with every luxury they could ever ask for, they begin to fall for each other, unable to deny their intense attraction until they discover the ship is in grave danger. With the lives of 5,000 sleeping passengers at stake, only Jim and Aurora can save them all. So Passengers opens up in theaters this weekend. This week we also have the video game adaptation of Assassin's Creed, which stars Michael Fassbender, and the plot synopsis reads as Cal Lynch travels back in time to the 15th century Spain through a revolutionary technology that unlocks the genetic memories contained in his DNA. There he lives out the experiences of Aguilar de Nara, a distant relative who is also a member of the Assassins, a secret society that fights to protect free will from the power-hungry Templar Order. Transformed by the past, Cal begins to gain the knowledge and physical skills necessary to battle the oppressive organization in the present. Now, I've not heard great things about this film. I've heard it's everything from okay to absolute garbage. So I'm going to be seeing it. I'll be doing a review for Assassin's Creed and Passengers this week before Christmas, so look for that on the channel this weekend. Also opening up is the Illumination Animations film Sing, and it'll be about a dapper koala named Buster Moon who presides over a once grand theater that has fallen on hard times. An eternal optimist and a bit of a scoundrel, he loves his theater above all and will do anything to preserve it. Facing the crumbling of his life's ambition, he takes one final chance to restore his fading jewel to its former glory by producing the world's greatest singing competition. 5 contestants emerge: a mouse, a timid elephant, a pig, a gorilla, and a punk rock porcupine. And last but certainly not least, opening up this weekend right before Christmas is Why Him, starring James Franco and Bryan Cranston. During the holidays, loving but overprotective Ned, played by Cranston, travels to California to visit his daughter Stephanie at Stanford University. While there, he meets his biggest nightmare, her well-meaning but socially awkward boyfriend Laird, played by Franco. Even though Laird is a billionaire, Ned disapproves of his freewheeling attitude and unfiltered language. His panic level escalates even further when he learns that Laird plans to ask for Stephanie's hand in marriage. Why Him also opens this weekend right before Christmas. Well, that'll just about do it for me, everybody. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like what you saw here, please comment and like this video. And you can also subscribe to the Jailcast on YouTube by searching for Jailcast there. You can also find links in the description of this video for my Facebook and Twitter, or you can go to facebook.com/Jailcast, or you can find me on Twitter at EricJail. So until next time, thank you for watching. God bless.